Why do American trucks look like rolling mansions, while European trucks resemble sleek, headless robots? The truth goes deeper than design. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at an 18-wheeler the same way again. Today, we're settling the ultimate truck showdown: why America's long-nosed beasts and Europe's compact cabovers evolved into totally different species. You'll see how U.S. highways bred mobile apartments for cowboy truckers, while Europe's ancient cities forced trucks to shrink like contortionists. Stick around, because by the end, you'll know which truck would dominate on your home turf, and why the other would fail spectacularly. Now, before we settle this continental truck war, click that subscribe button if you'd love to find out how these machines evolved. Let's start with the most obvious thing you'll notice if you ever travel between America and Europe. The trucks look completely different. American trucks have that classic long nose with the driver sitting behind the engine. We call these conventional trucks. European trucks use what we call a cab-over design, where the cabin sits directly on top of the engine with that flat front face. Now, this isn't just about looks. These different designs tell us a lot about how trucking works on each continent. American trucks are all about driver comfort and living space. European trucks focus on being compact, easy to maneuver, and carrying as much cargo as possible. Think of it like this: American trucks are like comfortable mobile homes on wheels. European trucks are more like efficient work machines built to navigate tight spaces. Now, both are impressive, but they're built for completely different worlds. We remember the first time we saw European trucks in person. We were like, where's the rest of the truck? They just looked chopped off to us. But then we saw one squeeze through a narrow street in an old Italian town, and we immediately understood why they're built that way. One of the biggest reasons American trucks look the way they do comes down to lifestyle. In America, many truck drivers own their own trucks. We call them owner-operators. These guys and gals live in their trucks for weeks or even months at a time, crossing back and forth across the country. American truck cabs are seriously like small apartments. They've got fridges, microwaves, nice beds, wardrobes for clothes, tons of storage, big windows, and some even have their own toilets. Many owners customize their trucks with huge sleeper compartments that rival some studio apartments. Think about it. American truckers can legally drive up to 12 hours every day. When you're spending that much time on the road, you need a comfortable place to rest. These drivers might be on the road for 3 to 4 weeks before heading home, so their truck really becomes their home. European truckers have a completely different situation. Most of them work for bigger companies rather than owning their trucks. Their regulations only let them drive 9 hours a day, and the trucking routes are generally shorter. Many European drivers can actually return home more often, so they don't need to fully live in their trucks the way American drivers do. But don't get us wrong, European drivers still have sleeper cabs that can stay out for days at a time. But the comfort level just isn't the same as what you'd find in a big American rig. Their space is much more limited because of how the cab-over design works. There's nowhere to extend into since the cabin sits right above the engine. This difference in living space is actually a big deal. It affects what kind of person becomes a trucker on each continent and how they view their job. In America, trucking is often a lifestyle. In Europe, it's more typically treated as a regular job where you come home more frequently. Okay, but seriously, a huge part of why these truckers look so different comes down to the actual roads they drive on. Totally different worlds. So picture this: you're cruising through Kansas or Nebraska, and those roads go on forever. Just dead straight for miles and miles. Some of these interstate stretches, you could literally take a nap at the wheel. Not that you should. But the US built these massive highway systems with super wide lanes and gentle turns. American trucks basically live on these roads. We were driving through Oklahoma last year and counted like 20 minutes without a single curve in the road. Just ruler straight highway cutting through farmland. And you know what? Those big, long American trucks with their stretched out wheelbases actually ride way better on these roads. They sort of float over the pavement. And when you're knocking out 700 miles in a day, trust us, that smooth ride means everything to your back and your sanity. European roads, totally different story. Most of their towns were built back when people rode horses, not 18-wheelers. Seriously, some of these streets in old European cities are so narrow you could practically touch buildings on both sides if you stretch your arms out. Even their highways have tighter lanes and way more curves. Partly because Europe's got mountains and stuff everywhere, but also because they just didn't plan for massive vehicles when laying out their road systems centuries ago. So European trucks had to adapt. They needed something that could actually make it through these older cities without demolishing half the buildings. That cab-over design with a shorter wheelbase lets drivers make much tighter turns. It's like the difference between trying to park a limo versus parking a smart car in a crowded lot. And the visibility thing is huge too. In those European cab-over trucks, drivers sit up really high with this giant windshield right in front of them. Nothing blocking their view. They can literally see the ground like 6 feet in front of the bumper. Super important when you've got pedestrians, cyclists, and tiny little European cars darting around everywhere. American trucks with those long hoods, the driver's sitting way back, and there's this massive blind spot right in front. But again, on those wide-open highways with separate truck lanes, not such a big deal. Those differences in driver lifestyle and road conditions are pretty cool, right? But hang on, we're just getting started. Coming up next, we'll show you how government rules literally force these trucks to evolve differently. Plus, we'll share some crazy facts about speeds and fuel efficiency that might surprise you. And if you're enjoying this truck showdown, hit that like button right now and subscribe to our channel. We've got tons more videos about trucks coming our way. Now, let's get back to these awesome trucks. Let's talk about something that had a huge impact on why these trucks look so different: government regulations. In Europe, they have super strict rules about how long a truck and trailer combo can be. Generally, they're limited to 18.75 meters in total. That's about 61 feet for the entire vehicle, including the trailer. Now, some countries have a few exceptions, but that's the basic rule across most of Europe. Because of these tight restrictions, European truck makers need to make their cabs as short as possible. Every inch they save on the cab means another inch available for cargo, and cargo space equals more money. The cab-over design is the perfect solution because it stacks the driver's compartment right on top of the engine instead of behind it. Now think about it. If American-style cabs can be up to 20 feet long, that would only leave about 40 feet for cargo in Europe. Now that's a huge loss of cargo space. No wonder they went with a cab-over design. Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. American trucks used to look a lot more like European trucks. Until 1986, the US had similar length restrictions that made cab-over trucks pretty popular in America too. But then something big happened. In 1986, the US government ditched those length restrictions. Suddenly, American trucks could be much longer without sacrificing cargo space. When truckers got the choice between the roomier, more comfortable conventional design or the tighter cab-over design, guess what happened? The conventional trucks with a long nose quickly took over the market. This one rule change in 1986 completely transformed American trucking and created that iconic look that we all know today. Isn't it wild how one government decision can change an entire industry? Let's talk about speed now. There's a big difference in how fast these trucks can legally go. European semi-trucks are usually limited to 90 kilometers per hour. That's about 56 miles per hour. Now that might sound slow, but it's actually pretty reasonable for their roads and distances. But in America, in some states, trucks can legally cruise at 80 to 85 miles per hour. That's seriously moving for a massive vehicle. But when you've got 3,000 miles to cross from coast to coast, those higher speeds make a big difference in delivery times. On those long, straight American highways at higher speeds, the better aerodynamics of conventional trucks give them a real advantage. The long nose can be shaped to cut through the air more efficiently at sustained high speeds, which saves a ton of fuel over those huge distances. European trucks focus on different priorities. They need to be lightweight to maximize cargo capacity within those strict weight regulations. They need to be compact for maneuverability. High-speed aerodynamics isn't as critical when you're limited to lower speeds and shorter routes anyway. Now let's talk about what happens when stuff breaks. Because trust us, it always does eventually. The whole maintenance thing is super different between these trucks, and it makes total sense when you really think about where they operate. So American trucks? Well, they gotta be crazy reliable. You break down in the middle of Wyoming or some remote stretch of Nevada desert, and you're seriously screwed. That's why American trucks are built like tanks. They're totally overbuilt with way more power than they actually need. Most run these massive engines at like half their potential because it means less strain and they last forever. We're talking engines that'll hit 1,000,000 miles before needing some serious work. And check this out. When something does go wrong, the whole setup with the long nose makes it way easier to fix stuff. Pop the hood and everything's right there right in front of you. Most repairs don't even need special tools or equipment. When you're 200 miles from the nearest shop, being able to fix it yourself is huge. European trucking? Well, that's a totally different ballgame. Most areas in Europe, you're never more than like an hour from help. Breakdown in France or Germany, and there's probably a service station just down the road. So they don't design with the same survive the apocalypse mindset. Their engines run smaller and work harder. Higher RPMs, more precise engineering. Still super reliable, but designed more for efficiency than Iron Man durability. The big hassle with Euro trucks is just getting to the dang engine. We watched mechanics work on them, and it's wild. You gotta literally tilt the entire cab forward like some Transformer robot to access anything. Takes special hydraulic equipment just to start working on it. But once that cab's tilted up, you've got this awesome access from above. You can practically sit on top of the engine while working on it. Pretty sweet setup for certain jobs. With growing concerns about the environment, both American and European trucks have had to adapt to stricter emission standards, but they've taken somewhat different approaches. European regulations have historically been tougher on emissions, pushing truck manufacturers to develop advanced systems earlier. Europe emissions rules are incredibly strict about nitrogen oxides and particulate matter. To meet these requirements, European trucks use complex systems with selective catalytic reduction, or SCR, diesel particulate filters, and precise engine management. American trucks had more relaxed standards for many years, but they've been catching up. The EPA standards have tightened significantly, and now both continents have advanced emissions control systems. However, there are still differences in the details and implementation. Now, one interesting difference is in the diesel itself. European diesel fuel standards are different from American ones, which affects how the engines are designed. European trucks are optimized for their specific fuel formulations. The physical layout of these systems also differs because of the truck designs. In cab-over trucks, emissions components need to be packaged more compactly, which presents additional cooling and maintenance challenges. Let's talk about what it's actually like to drive these different trucks, because the experience is surprisingly different. In an American conventional truck, you sit lower, further back from the front wheels, and behind that long hood. Now this creates a distinctive driving feel. The long wheelbase makes the truck less responsive to steering inputs, but provides a smoother, more stable ride, especially at high speeds and on the straight highways. The noise level in American trucks tends to be lower because the engine is further away from the driver. There's more insulation between you and that noisy diesel engine, which makes for a quieter ride over those 12-hour driving days. In European cab-over trucks, you sit much higher, right over the front wheels, with a near vertical windshield in front of you. Now, this high seating position gives you that commanding view of the road we mentioned earlier. The steering is typically more responsive because of the shorter wheelbase, which helps with urban maneuvering. The trade-off is that the cab-over trucks have a rougher ride. Since you're sitting right over the front axle, you feel every bump more directly. The engine is also right beneath you, which can mean more noise and heat in the cabin. Modern trucks on both continents have made huge strides in comfort, with air suspension seats, climate control, and sound insulation. But the fundamental differences in driving position and feel remain. Now, it really comes down to what you're used to and what kind of driving you do most often. For those long-haul interstate journeys, the American style offers more comfort. For navigating tight delivery situations, the European design gives you better control. All right, truckers, we've covered a ton of differences so far, from regulations to driver lifestyle. If you're enjoying this deep dive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more fascinating comparisons coming your way. Now, let's switch gears and look at some amazing features of these trucks and what the future might hold for both designs. Both American and European trucks have developed some incredible technologies over the years, often reflecting their different priorities. American trucks often feature advanced comfort technologies. Sleep systems in high-end American trucks can rival luxury hotels, with premium mattresses, climate control that runs while the driver sleeps, and even systems that can keep the cabin comfortable overnight without idling the engine. Entertainment systems in American trucks are often elaborate, with satellite TV, gaming systems, and high-end audio. Some even have small washers and dryers built into storage compartments. When your truck is your home, these amenities make a huge difference in quality of life. The customization culture in American trucking is unbelievable. There are massive truck shows where owners show off chrome accessories, custom paint jobs, and interior modifications that can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Some American trucks are literally rolling works of art. European trucks, meanwhile, have often led the way in safety technology. Many European models pioneered advanced emergency braking systems, lane departure warnings, and pedestrian detection systems long before they became common in American trucks. The cab-over design also allows for some unique features. Many European trucks have nearly flat floors in the cab, which makes moving around inside much easier. The vertical windshields create less distortion and glare than the sloped windshields on conventional trucks. European trucks have also been at the forefront of fuel-saving technology, with ultra-efficient engines, automated manual transmissions, and advanced aerodynamic features like side skirts and roof spoilers precisely designed for their cab-over shape. We visited a truck technology expo last year and were blown away by the innovations on both sides. American trucks had these incredible living spaces with amenities we couldn't believe, while European trucks showcased safety systems that could literally see around corners using radar and cameras. Different priorities have driven different innovations. With electric and autonomous trucks on the horizon, we might see these continental differences start to blur in some interesting ways. Electric powertrains don't need the same engine placement as traditional diesel. The motors can be mounted directly onto axles, and batteries can be distributed throughout the chassis. This opens up new possibilities for cab design that aren't constrained by having to place a massive diesel engine somewhere. Some concept electric trucks are already showing hybrid designs. Not quite conventional, not quite cab-over, but something new entirely. These designs can prioritize both aerodynamics and visibility in ways that weren't possible before. Autonomous technology might also change things dramatically. If trucks eventually drive themselves for portions of the journey, the focus on cab design might shift. Maybe the cab becomes more of a rest place than a driving space. This could lead to radical new layouts we haven't even imagined yet. Climate concerns are pushing both American and European designs toward better aerodynamics. Some European manufacturers are experimenting with slightly longer nose designs to improve airflow while maintaining maneuverability. Meanwhile, American trucks are being redesigned with smoother contours and better integration between the cab and trailer to reduce drag. We recently saw a prototype truck that could actually transform, extending its wheelbase on highways for better stability and fuel economy, then compressing it in urban areas for better maneuverability. Technologies like this might eventually give us the best of both worlds. Another fascinating aspect of this comparison is how different truck brands are perceived on each continent. In America, truck brand loyalty runs deep. Ask any driver about Peterbilt versus Kenworth versus Freightliner, and you'll likely get a passionate response. Many drivers remain loyal to one brand for their entire career, and there's almost a tribal identity around which truck make you drive. American truck brands focus heavily on heritage and tradition in their marketing. They emphasize their long histories and connection to American trucking culture. Customization options are extensive, allowing owners to make their trucks unique. European truck brands like Volvo, Scania, Mercedes-Benz, and MAN tend to market themselves more on technical innovation, efficiency, and safety. While brand loyalty certainly exists in Europe too, the focus seems to be more on the practical performance of the vehicle rather than its cultural identity. The dealership experience is different too. American truck dealerships often feel more like community hubs, with driver lounges, merchandise shops, and sometimes even small museums celebrating the brand's history. European dealerships typically have a more straightforward business approach. This difference in brand culture reflects the broader difference in how trucking is viewed, as a lifestyle in America versus more of a profession in Europe. Both American and European truck designs are being forced to evolve in response to environmental concerns, but they're starting from different baseline efficiencies. Because of their compact design and focus on weight reduction, European trucks have traditionally used less fuel per ton-mile than their American counterparts. Their smaller engines and overall lighter weight contribute to this efficiency advantage. American trucks have had to work harder to improve their efficiency, with a focus on aerodynamics to compensate for the larger size. Features like roof fairings, side skirts, and aerodynamic mirrors have become standard as American manufacturers work to reduce fuel consumption. However, the difference in efficiency has been narrowing in recent years. American trucks have made huge strides in aerodynamics and engine efficiency, while European trucks have nearly reached their practical limits of what can be achieved with their cab-over design. Now, both continents are looking toward alternative fuels and propulsion systems as the next frontier. Compressed natural gas, liquefied natural gas, hydrogen fuel cells, and battery electric systems are being developed for both truck types. The different physical layouts do create different challenges for these new technologies. For example, finding space for large battery packs is more challenging in the compact layout of a cab-over truck. But engineers on both continents are finding clever solutions to these design challenges. So there you have it, the full story behind why American and European trucks look and operate so differently. It's not just random design choices. These trucks evolved to perfectly match their environments, regulations, and the needs of their drivers. Bottom line, each truck is basically perfect for where it needs to work. Throw an American conventional into some medieval European town center, and you'll be stuck in minutes. And just try making an American driver do a coast-to-coast run in a cramped cab over, and they'll probably quit after day 2. Take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed watching this and found it helpful.